Straight ahead on 6 News, we have breaking news from the west side. An apparent fight at a busy store. We'll have a live report coming up.
IU deals with a case of meningitis not only on a medical level, but also on an emotional one. We'll have the latest coming up on that. Authorities pursuing charges against an area teenager after they say he distributed morphine to his classmates. And
it's the first case of its kind in Indiana, a support case involving artificial insemination. Hear what a judge has to decide.
6 News at 5, coming your way next.
Next on 6 News, a meningitis scare has many local people worried about contracting the disease. How's it spread? We'll separate fact from fiction coming up. And new allegations against Marv Albert. New information from his sexual misconduct trial. And traffic problems in Castleton are about to get even worse, at least for a couple of days. Find out why next on 6 News at 5.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WRTV 6 News.
It just hit hard because he's right across the hall, right across the tower, you know, and it could have easily been anyone else, anybody, you know, on my floor.
It is a tough time in Bloomington as Indiana University students are grieving for the loss of a classmate. School officials are trying to track down those who came in contact with 18-year-old Benjamin Moore. Good evening, everyone. I'm Diane Willis.
And I'm Kevin Doran in for Clyde Lee tonight.
We'll get to that story in Bloomington in just a moment, but first, we want to tell you about some breaking news at this hour.
The news apparently started with a fight, a large fight, at the Value City store at 38th and Arlington, and that's where our Linda Lupear is live now. Linda, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you the police have this place surrounded. They have a helicopter in the air, which I'm sure you can hear. They have police dogs inside doing a search of the building. Customers and the employees have been taken out. Now with me is Lieutenant Paul Soselsky from the Indianapolis Police Department, who can tell us at least what started this event. What was it?
Well, the details are still real sketchy, but apparently we had about 10 to 12 young men and women inside the store who started a fight. What we hear is based on an altercation that occurred earlier, kind of a retaliation type thing. We had lots of reports. They had bats and sticks and even weapons at the time. But once we arrived, we didn't find any weapons. We did find one victim who had been stabbed in the back. He's been taken to Wishart in minor condition. But none of the employees or any of the customers were harmed in any way.
And you have how many arrests?
Right now we just have one person detained. We are trying to get information from some of the customers and the employees as to who might have been involved and even the suspect and the victim and talk to them.
Do you have good reason to believe they're still inside?
No. We have everybody out that we know of right now. We have canine dogs searching, making one last sweep of the store to make sure there's no suspects hiding anywhere. And once they're complete, we'll reopen the store.
Okay. So they are searching the store. No one harmed except the one individual who was involved in the fight. The customers were all out when I got here, so we will have more information for you later. I'm sure Lieutenant Soselsky will be able to fill us in on exactly what happened and how many individuals were involved. Back to you, Diane and Kevin.
Okay. Linda Lupear at the scene, 38th and Arlington.
Now back to our big story of the evening. 18-year-old Benjamin Moore, a freshman at IU, died yesterday at an Indianapolis hospital from a rare form of meningitis. Ben Morriston begins our team coverage tonight from the South Bureau. He says the university is trying to reassure students that no one who had casual contact with Moore is at risk.
The IU Health Center reacted swiftly to the concerns of students.
The whole dorm had floor meetings last night, and they told us that there was really no concern.
18-year-old Benjamin Moore lived in the Briscoe Quadrangle. 50 students lived on his floor. The health center has counseled 15 of them following his death.
The students whom we're dealing with that actually knew Ben, that spent time with him, seemed to be very calm, very understanding, and very interested in getting the appropriate care.
And through pamphlets being handed out and education. Some students worried that they too might get the rare disease.
My roommate was sick last night, and we didn't know what symptoms were associated with meningitis, and so we thought maybe she had it, and then I thought maybe I was going to get sick.
But medical officials say only those who had a close contact with Benjamin Moore during the last week were at the greatest risk of infection.
We're recommending a medication called rifampin that's an antibiotic that would, about 90% of the time, kill this bacteria if it was in their respiratory system.
Students have to cope not only with the concern that they too might get this rare disease, they also have to cope with the loss of a fellow student.
Just to know that people I'm like seeing daily, just, you know, somebody I just see daily, just now he's dead. Death is scary.
It's hard because you can realize it could be anyone that could do that could happen to.
None of us like to be reminded of our mortality, and I think it's particularly hard on 18, 20-year-old males.
Late today, the State Board of Health told IU health officials that Benjamin Moore also had an active case of hepatitis A, which is a virus but is not life-threatening. IU will now go back to those students who received antibiotics to protect them from meningitis and inform them that they should also get an injection to protect them from hepatitis.
Okay. Thank you, Ben.
This is a rare enough disease, and Benjamin Moore's death from possible meningitis has put the spotlight on this disease, a disease that few of us know much about. For instance, what exactly is meningitis? Just how easy is it to contract the disease? 6 News reporter Theresa Joyce has been looking into that and continues our team coverage tonight. Theresa.
Diane, bacterial meningitis is an airborne organism. If you come within 3 feet of someone infected, you are at risk. Now, many of the symptoms are very much like those of the flu, so how do you tell the difference? We asked the experts for answers. When word of Benjamin Moore's illness and death reached IU's Bloomington campus, the most frequently asked question was, how does one catch meningitis? The Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta says meningitis is spread through the exchange of respiratory and throat secretions like coughing and kissing. Also, according to the Centers for Disease Control, meningitis is the infection of the fluid surrounding the spinal cord and brain. There are 2 categories of the disease. Viral meningitis is generally less severe and passes without specific treatment. Bacterial meningitis can be quite severe, resulting in brain damage,